This is Jack Moelmann, and once again we're at my home in O'Fallon, Illinois. O'Fallon being near St. Louis. It's the 2nd of December 2011, cold outside, and with us is quite a guy. He's from the warm part of the country, the Tampa Bay area in Florida. His name's Bob Davidson, and we're going to just find out how long he's been doing what he's doing. He plays the organ, he fixes them, he does all sorts of things. So let's see what we can get from him. When did you first become interested in music?
Actually, Jack, I became interested in music by force. My parents bought a piano when I was 6. I came home from school and said, "What's that?" And their response was, "Well, we bought a piano, and you and your sister are going to learn to play it." And that's where the music career really started. When I was 14, I was introduced to the actual theater organ. Always enjoyed the church organ every Sunday, sitting there wanting to hear those sounds. And I would have to say the career took off even further as far as music about that age.
And you've been doing it ever since?
I've had the love of it ever since.
Now you play, obviously.
Yes, I play. Of course, studied as a child, private lessons, and then studied organ while I was in college.
And are you in the technical side of this as well?
One of the things that was really fun with the introduction to the theater organ, a gentleman there in Indianapolis, Thomas Furry, was a very avid theater organ enthusiast. He acquired the Rivoli Theater on East 10th Street and then found a Uniphone theater pipe organ in a Jewish synagogue, which he brought to Indianapolis to put in that theater. And at the time that I got introduced to him, right about 14, 15 years old, Tom took me under his wing and not only taught me to be a technician, but also said it was time I got up on that thing and learned to play it.
Oh, that's usually the way it works. Now, in your career in the theater organ world, you became a member of the board of directors of ATOS. When was that?
That was 2003.
Okay, and you had a good time with that?
It was a fun time, especially working with the endowment fund and working with the other chapters to help promote, trying to get them some money to be able to apply that back to their instruments for refurbishing.
So you consider that the biggest thing you did while you were there is to be involved in the endowment fund?
I think that was one of the biggest things, yes.
And what do you do these days? You're not in the ATOS board, but what are you doing theater organ wise? You're on the board of directors of TOSI, Theater Organ Society International. I assume active at the Tampa Theater in Tampa.
I'm a little bit active with the Tampa Theater. That is Central Florida Theater Organ Society chapter. The organ is used regularly throughout the week. I do play occasionally. Unfortunately, things have changed a little bit since leaving the board of directors, in that I've become a lot more active within the Masonic fraternity. I am the organist chairman at the Valley of Tampa. Do most of the organ work for the different degrees that men go through as far as becoming a Scottish Rite Mason. As far as the theater organ, still active with the Minnesota chapter down in Sarasota with their nice, beautiful Wurlitzer. And still an occasional grace the keys of the big instrument there at the Kirk of Dunedin.
Now, your visit here this weekend here in O'Fallon is to attend a concert, which we're going to have tomorrow and Sunday. But you're also here to go visit with the St. Louis Scottish Rite. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about what you got going on over there?
Well, it was a visit because the St. Louis Valley is a valley within the Southern Masonic jurisdiction, which I'm also belong to as far as the Valley of Tampa. Many years ago, there was some rumors going about where the organ was going to be sold. And because it's a very historical instrument, the building is very historical, it was kind of a hardship. And I had heard that they were decided to keep it. Happened to meet the general secretary over the internet, exchanged some emails, and they wanted me to come up and visit while we were here for our board meeting this weekend. So I went over and met the organist, met the gentleman who happens to be our vice president here with TOSI, who is actually taking most of the refurbishing upon himself to do. And it's really great to see one of our groups, one of our valleys within the Scottish Rite jurisdiction, that has taken a respark of interest to be able to save a very beautiful instrument that's part of that beautiful historic building.
Well, that's very good, and I wish you well here, because I live obviously in the St. Louis area, have played that organ, and it's quite an instrument.
It's quite an instrument, and it's kind of ironic in a way, in the fact that I played the instrument, we were talking about this probably 28 years ago, and it was starting to show a little wear and tear, and it was somewhat disappointing to go in today, and it is disconnected because they are doing a very nice job with restoring the instrument, and their dream is to get it ready for what we call the reunion, the actual initiations. They'll come up in April 2012.
Well, just summarizing and bringing this maybe to a close, what would be your advice to young people out there? We don't know who's watching these videos. What would be your advice to people that want to get involved in the organ, in music in general? What would you tell them if you just saw somebody that was curious and didn't know really which way to go?
I would encourage them to learn an instrument, especially we're prejudiced with the keyboards and the organs. It is, if nothing more, a perfect release from the tensions and everything that goes on in our daily lives now, and just be able to release yourself and enjoy what you give to the organ, it will give back to you.
Well, very good. Bob Davidson, we thank you for being here and doing all the things that you've done over the years and all that you're going to continue to do. So this is Jack Moelmann, O'Fallon, Illinois, December 2nd, 2011, and best wishes, Bob.
Thank you, Jack.